What is up, you guys, and welcome to a new video here. With the release of Pitch Black, I wanted to try out the new Mega Excadrill because I think it's probably going to be one of the better decks. It seems like it's been doing pretty good in Japan, honestly. It's honestly something that's not Dragapult that I can actually get behind, and it's nothing like, I don't know, I've just never been a fan of the other decks except like Dragapult right now. So I'm really excited to try Excadrill. I've seen a few lists on like Twitter and all that, and people are still kind of theory crafting like what the best base spec is. I don't like the trolley, so I decided to play the secret box version, which I appreciate for the consistency. I really like that, and I don't feel as bad when I prize my base spec. But yeah, I got pretty lucky with my pre-releases, so I got most of the cards I needed day one, and everyone in my locals decided to play the Pitch Black format. So I was able to test it out, give it a test drive, and see how I feel. And I think I did pretty good. You guys will see in some of the games. I think I did pretty good. I like the deck. It's really fun, and I'm excited to see something new that's not the same like 2 or 3 decks doing really well in this format. And I'm really excited for some of the new stuff coming out. But yeah, you guys, anyways, enough talking, enough for the intro. Let's get right into the video.
This is the list I'm going to be running today. It's pretty standard. I have one more drill burr than some of the lists I've seen. I like just having the extra one for consistency reasons. I've seen some lists also running at 1 Genesect. I did not like that at all, especially if you prized it. It felt pretty bad. The Shaman is also in here just to respect the Slowking matchup. I don't want my whole bench wiped. Kieran is also another good card right now because Retreat Lock I feel like is really strong. We got 3 Buddy Buddy Poffin. I wish I could find a 4th, but I don't really need it all that much after I get a couple set up, and you also have the Call for Family from the drill burr. I'm playing the secret box instead of the trolley because when you prize a trolley, it just feels really bad playing the game. I've got 1 jumbo ice cream cone. I kind of wish I could find a second one somewhere in here, but the list is pretty tight, so it might take some tweaking around to put that one in there. 1 Brave Bengal and 1 Gravity Mountain make your Metagross hit those 330s and for knockout. And I'm also running a 14 energy lineup. I feel like it's a good middle ground between the 13s and the 15s that I've been seeing, but there is one game that I just did not get any, and I felt really bad for having so little, I guess. Alright you guys, let's get into the first game here against Dragapult Blaziken. I feel like I am at the disadvantage here because he does have the fire type, which makes a great attacker against me and can hit me for weakness. But that's alright, he gets set up here pretty well with a couple of Dreepies and a Torchic. I end up going for a Petrol into the secret box and getting my setup here with a Buddy Poffin and putting the balloon on my drill burr because I want to get that Call for Family off just to have extra stuff in the back line ready, just in case he does end up getting like a knockout on my drill burr or something. Genesect does get me my evolutions for my next turn, and I go for the Call for Family, just have a almost full bench here set up and ready to go. He's going to do Dragapult things and go for a couple Dracloaks to fill out his hand and get the pieces he needs to hopefully do something this turn. He does end up going for the Pokepad and getting the Badoo to item lock me here, which really doesn't matter because at the end I don't use too many items. He does go for the Attach Retreat and goes for the Itchy Pollen. Since I'm item locked here, I'm going to attach to the Genesect just in case. Lily, and with this new hand, I'm going to play my Fez out here and also get my Metal Makers going. The first Metal Maker gets me 1. The second Metal Maker is going to get me a second one here, which helps out a lot. I'm going to put that on a Matang. With the 2 here, I go for the Undermine, and he's going to mill a Buddy Poffin and an Ultra Ball, and I get my first prize of the game. He's going to bring out a Dracloak and go for a couple of Recon Directives, just to see if he can get the pieces he needs, which I'm pretty sure he would at this point. He also goes for Fez to get another 3 to his hand, and goes for a Crispin. With that Crispin, he's going to get a Psychic and a Dark Energy. He attaches a Fire Energy there, evolves his Torchic into Gambuskin, and puts a Ho on his bench just to start setting that up for hits on me at some point in the game. He's going to spread his damage 2 on the Genesect, 4 on my Matang, with the energy on it, just so it's going to have a harder time becoming a Metagross. I'm going to go for a couple of Metal Makers here, getting 1 energy on each of them. Bringing my Excadrill here up to 4, and I go for the Attach Return, so we're at 5, making my guy hit for 340, which is really high, and that's one reason I really enjoy this deck. I'm going to go for the one-shot here and get another 2 prizes. He's going to bring up the Dracloak and use his Blaziken to get a energy on there, as well as an Attach Return, and then he's going to Unfair Stamp, hoping to get something here, but unfortunately he doesn't. and has to retreat into his Dreepy. And then it's going to go for my turn. I'm going to start off with a couple metal makers, getting 1 energy off the top there, and I'm going to put it on the Metang without any damage on it, just to set up a Metagross so I can one-shot anything that comes up, or boss up a 2-prizer for that. The second metal maker unfortunately comes up with nothing, but that's alright, because he didn't knock out my Excadrill. I can just retreat my Genesect and go for another Undermine to build the top 2 cards of his deck, hopefully hit something good. Dracloak and a Buddy Poffin's pretty good, but at this point in the game, he's going to go for a Blaziken and go for a Buddy Poffin and look through his deck to see his options. After Dracloak and Fezzing, he realizes he doesn't have much left to go and scoops it up. Game 2 was way quicker. He ended up letting me go first, and I ended up going attach return and passing over to him. He started off with the Clefairy, going for a Crispin right into the 2 energy needed, a few Pokemon on the bench, and going for the full move Rondo for knockout, and we're going for game 3. So for this last game here, my opponent gets 2 Dreepies, which is good for me because he won't have the fire type out with the Torchic, and I can just get set up and not have to worry about anything. I am going second here, so I'm probably going to be going a little slower. I do get the Lillies and a fresh hand, so I can get a full bench going. My opponent is well top decks there and gets a Lillies. He goes for the Dracloak, attaches for turn, and goes for a Recon Directed to fill out his hand and make sure he can get what he needs later. He's going to go for the retreat and item lock me, which doesn't matter too much because he doesn't get the 10 damage because Steel does resist the grass. For my turn, I get 2 Metangs out, and then go for a search for another Metang as well as my Excadrill. I get that 3rd Metang out and retreat that into my Drober, which already has the energy attached to it, and I'm going to start get going by attaching for turn and going for Metal Maker. The first Metal Maker here, really good, got 2 right off the bat there. I'm going to go and attach that to a Metang, and the second Metal Maker here gets me 3 more, getting my Excadrill up to 5. The 3rd Metang gets me a 3rd one, and I boss up the Torchic just so I can get rid of the fire type on the board. I go for an Undermine and he mills the top 2. He goes for an Unfair Stamp after that first knockout, bringing me down to 2 cards and getting him a whole new hand of 5. He goes for his first Dracloak, getting him his second, and then he gets a Meowth off the second one there. Plays Lily to get a fresh hand, and then he plays a Torchic, finds the Fez and draws 3 more. Pokebag gets him a Combuskin because he's going to need to get that Torchic set up as well. He attaches the Psychic and goes for another Igipollen. I go for attach there on the Metang just so the Metagross is ready to go, and I go for a few Metal Makers just to thin out my deck a little more. The first one, unfortunately, I get nothing. Second one, I get nothing. And third one here, I also get nothing. So that's 3 in a row. I went through 12 cards getting nothing. I do, however, get my evolutions. I evolve up, just have that ready, and I get rid of the Torchic again with an Undermine. I get 2 Buddy Poffins off the top, which at this point really doesn't matter. But you know, it's just less cards for him, you never know. He goes for a couple of Recon Directives to get some pieces he needs, as well as a Pheasantipity to get 3 more cards. He's going to play the Night Stretcher to get back his Torchic and attaches for turn, so he's ready to start Phantom Diving here, which he is going to do. He bosses up my Genesect and plays a few more cards just to thin out his deck. I start my turn with the Metal Maker to try and get this retreat off. I have to get 2 energies here, which I do off the first 2 Metal Makers, and I retreat into my Excadrill, and I also attach a Metal Energy and go for the swing. My opponent brings up his Badoo just because of the free retreat, and he's going to look through his deck with the Buddy Poffin but fail to find anything. He's going to do his Recon Directive as well as a Fez to get more cards in his hand. Goes Ultra Ball to get another Dracloak for another Recon Directive, and calls game there because he has nothing else. So to start off game 2, my opponent is playing Team Rocket's Mewtwo. He's going to start off with the Team Rocket's Transceiver and go for the Proton. He's going to get his 3 basics there, which is going to be an Articuno and 2 Tarantula little guys, I forget their name. I start off with a Build'em and 2 Buddy Poffins, as well as my A-Spec the Secret Box there, so I can kind of get my hand built up here with like an Ultra Ball, my Stadium, as well as an Air Balloon. I'm going to Ultra Ball to get my Genesect, which is going to give me my evolutions before I end my turn here. I'm going to put the Air Balloon on the Beldum, get a couple of Metangs as well as Lillies, so I can have a fresh hand for my next turn. I'm going to pass. My opponent, on the other hand, had nothing to play. So I go for my next turn here and get my 3 Metangs as well as set up my Excadrill. I get my second energy on that guy, and I'm ready to start going. But I'm gonna Metal Maker just to thin out my deck and get a second attacker up as well. Now I know I don't really need the 5 energy on my Excadrill at this point, so I'm gonna load up a second attacker just so I can knock out whatever comes up. I get a bunch of energies off the top there and pass to my opponent after I undermine him and get 2 cards in the discard. He's going to go for the Night Stretcher and get a Mewtwo, as well as switch up to his Articuno. And I'm going to take my turn by starting off with a Metal Maker. I get nothing off that first one, but I do get a few here. I do get 1 there off of the second one, and for the third one I also get 1 more. Getting my Excadrill ready to hit that Mewtwo as hard as possible. I'm going to Pokegear here, hoping to get the boss. Unfortunately, I get a Lillay's, so I go for the Lillay's, get a Fresh Hand, and get the energy. This lets me maximum drill for the knockout. He plays another Patron to get 3 of his basics. He gets a Wobbuffet and another Tarantula, and realizes that he can't do too much, so he's going to scoop, and we're going to go to game 2. Alright, so for game 2, he's going first again. He's going to start off with the Articuno. I got my Drillbur. He goes for the Transceiver, as well as an Energy Search. He's going to get a Grass Energy, as well as Protean, to get his 3 basics, and he's going to switch out his Articuno for his Mewtwo. And then I'm going to go for my turn. I start off with a couple of basics, as well as a Lillay's. I get my Genesect and get a couple of evolutions for my next turn there, and I'm going to pass to him after a call for family. He's going to attach that Team Rocket's energy to the Mewtwo, evolve up his little Tarantula guy, and he's going to declare an attack on my Drillbur, going for the knockout. I bring up my second Drillbur, and I'm ready to start attacking. I go evolve into Mega Excadrill, as well as get my 2 Beldums. I search for another 2 to get the Metagross, as well as another Beldum, so I could have a second attacker in my hand just in case I need it. And we start gambling with a couple of Metal Makers. The first one, I get a full 2, which was really lucky for me because I wouldn't have been able to attack without it. The second one, I also get super lucky with another one, and I just need 2 more energy, which I do end up getting off the Metang. I end up getting 3, so I can start setting up the other Metang to become a Metagross. I place my Fez down so I could draw 3 extra cards, and I go for maximum drilling for the knockout. He brings up the little Tarantula guy, goes for the ability, and attaches for turn, as well as playing an Ultra Ball to grab his Team Rocket Sneasel. He goes for the attack, which I resist, so it only hits for 150, and I go for a few more Metal Makers here just to have the energies and thin my deck out because I don't want to be drawing into those. I get 1 off the first, 1 off the second, and for the third I get another couple there. I play my Secret Box, discarding a few useless cards that I don't think I'll need at this point in the game, to get a few extra cards that I will definitely use, such as an Air Balloon there, my Ice Cream, Kieran just in case he does want to swap something out or I need the extra damage on something, and I'm going to boss up his Sneasel. I'm going to pass for turn, I'm going to go for the Undermine, and he's going to get rid of 2 cards. My opponent's going to start off with a Protean to get a few more basics, as well as attach an energy to Mewtwo, and he's going to swing at me for another 150. I'm going to start my turn off with a few more Metal Makers because I do have the option to get my Metagrosses set up, because I do knock everything out with just a Metagross without getting rid of the energy. So I'm going to have a couple of those set up just in case he did take out my Mega Excadrill. I go for the maximum drilling and I take the knockout on his Tarantula. At this point in the game he gives up because he can't do much else, and I take the set. Starting off game 3, it's against Dragapult Dusknoir, a classic here. My opponent starts off with a Buddy Poffin, attaches the Psychic Energy for turn, and passes over to me. I start with 2 Drillburs and go for a Buddy Poffin to get a couple Beldums, call for family, and pass my turn back over. My opponent gets the Rare Candy into a Dragapult, goes for the Lillay's, with his Fresh Hand gets the attached return, another Buddy Poffin to get a few more Pokemon on the bench, Ultra Balls for a Dusknoir, and goes for the Rare Candy. And I am already sweating here because he goes for the Dusknoir on my Drillbur and goes for a Phantom Dive as well. So I bring up this Genesect here and try and evolve my Metangs up, or my Beldums up. And then I'm gonna try and go for at least a Metagross play, but he's already putting a ton of pressure on me here. So I go for the first Metal Maker and I get nothing. Second Metal Maker, I don't get very much more, it just the 1, and that's probably not gonna help me just yet. But I attached 1 on the other guy too, just in case he targets 1 down. He's going to go for a Buddy Poffin, get a couple more basics here, get a Dusknoir, and Lillay's it back into the deck. He's going to Pokepad, get a Dracloak, pick his card, and then he's going to go for another Pokepad, getting the Dust Noir. He has the third Rare Candy in his deck for a third Dust Noir, popping my Metang, and then he has so much advantage over me at this point. I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna play it out and see what can happen. He goes for a Phantom Dive, knocks out my Beldum. I'm gonna go for the Secret Box just to get a few cards. Maybe I can get something here, such as the red card, and maybe I can like play out of it or something, but I did not have much hope. I attached to the Metang there, go for a Metal Maker, and get absolutely nothing, unfortunately. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I don't think I'm gonna really get anything and scoop it up here. All right, so for game 2, we're gonna hopefully get a little better here. He's going first just so I can get a couple items off before I start getting item locked. He's gonna go for the Ultra Ball and go a Dreepy and pass to me. I'm gonna start off with a Buddy Buddy Poffin and a Secret Box, getting a few more cards here as well as another Buddy Buddy Poffin. I've got a pretty set up bench, so I'm gonna go for the Lillies here, make sure I can get my Genesect out at least for this turn. And fortunately, I get to do it with the Call for Family. So he's going to take his turn, he's going to Night Stretcher for the Dragapult, and he's going to go for the greedy play here and go straight for the Rare Candy right into the Crispin for his 2 energies. Now, during this match, he was saying that this might be the wrong play, but he's going to go for it. And he does end up going for the Phantom Dive and putting damage counters on both of my Beldums. So I top deck into the Excadrill here so I can search for a couple Metangs. And I can start hoping to get Metal Makers here. I was hoping to get 5, and I get the third Metang there as well. I get my Evo off the first Metal Maker. I get a couple. Second one here, I think I get 3. Yep, I get the 3 off the top there. So I'm ready to go. And then I do one more just to thin my deck out and get a Metang going, and I get the last 5 there. So I had literally the perfect turn for the revenge knockout here. And I take my first 2 prizes. He's going to bring up his Badoo and bring out a Fez. He's going to start with the Lillies here, get a few cards, and then he's going to play a couple of Dreepies off the top there and go for a Pheasant Skibbity draw. And he goes for the Igipollen there. I'm going to start off with a Metal Maker, try and get these metal energies going. He's going to go 1 there, and then for the last one, I think I get 1 more here. Yep, I get 1 more there. So I'm feeling pretty good about this. I've got Metagross almost set up, ready to go. Even if he does take down my Excadrill, I have a thing to knock out the next. I boss up his Fez and go for another 2 prizer, and he's just going to scoop up from there. All right, and into the last game here. I'm starting Genesect going first. He's starting with a Monkey. I'm going to start with a Buddy Poffin here, get a Beldum and a Drillbur, so I have those ready. As well as search for a couple of Metal Evolution Pokemon, attach for turn and pass. He goes Fez, attaches for turn and passes again. I go Buddy Poffin off the top of my deck there, get my Metang as well, and I'm going to start going for the Metal Makers. I get 1 off the top there, so my Excadrill's ready to start going. I just need to be able to retreat this Genesect, but I do not have it yet. He does get a Buddy Poffin and goes for 1 Dreepy. You'll see why later in the game. I go for another evolution on the Metang, get a couple more energy and go for a second one, get another energy off the top there. So I've got 4 ready to go on that Excadrill. I'm going to go for the Pokegear to get the Petrol for my balloon. And now I can start going for the Undermine or the Max Drilling. I go for the Undermine just to mill 2 off the top, which I do get a Buddy Poffin and a Dragapult. He goes for the Dracloak to try and get a few cards here. I also did not want to give him the knockout for his Fez on the Monkey, so that's why I went for that. He's going to go for the Dark and the Psychic here, and he's going to go for the Mind Bend for the Confusion. I'm going to get a couple of evolutions here. I'm going to evolve up my other Drillbur here, and we're going to start doing some Metal Makers. I get a couple off the rip there, and then I go for a second one here, and I think I get a couple more. Nope, I got none, unfortunately. I do go for the Hard Retreat on 4, just so I can bring this next one up so I don't have to roll for Confusion. I attach for turn there, play Fez just in case, and go for a Lillies, and I go for the Undermine for 2 more cards, as well as knocking out the Munkidori. He's going to start his turn by bringing up the Dracloak and putting down a Duskull. or well, he was thinking about it. There we go. And after that, he's going to go for the evolution as well as go for the Lilies and hope he gets the fire type energy. He goes for Buddy Poffin for a second Duskull, as well as a jamming tower, and unfirst stamps me down to 2. He does get the fire energy off the top there and goes for the Phantom Dive. Unfortunately for him, I am pretty much ready to knock out this Dragapult. I'm going to start with my Metal Makers here. I do get 2 there, so I can get to the 5th one. And then I'm going to go for the second one here and hopefully get something else set up. I get 1, which is okay. But I go for the maximum drilling here, get my 2, and he's going to scoop because as you can see here, he prized 3 of his Dreepies and there was no way of getting out of that. Alright, you guys, we have finally made it to the last match of the day against Zoroark. Or Zoroark. So I start off here with Genesect, he's starting with Zorora. I go with the Petrol for a Buddy Poffin and Secret Box into another Buddy Poffin to start off getting my guys going, as well as searching for a couple of evolution cards there in my hand, a couple of Matangs. I switch out to the Drillbird just because I don't want the Genesect in the active. My opponent's going to start setting up his Auroras and getting a Lilies for a fresh new hand. He's going to go for a Buddy Poffin for another Zorora, as well as a Tatsugiri to get another Lilies for his next turn. He'll attach there and pass. I get a couple more of evolutions here, as well as my Mega Excadrill, and start going for a couple Metal Makers where I'll get 1 off the top of that guy, as well as 1 off the top for this guy. I'll attach for turn there and bring up my Excadrill, getting rid of his castle, bossing this that Zorora up because it had the Binding Mochi, and going for an Undermine for the top 2 off the top of his deck. He brings up his Zorora and evolves a couple of them to start getting trades going. It's trade 1, and then he'll attach there for turn and go for the 250. I'm going to get a couple of more evolution Pokemon to make my chance of getting some energies better. First Metal Maker here, I'm not going to get anything. Second Metal Maker here, however, I am going to get 3, and that's really lucky. I'm going to put 2 on the Matang, just have the Metagross ready, and then I'm going to go for a Lilies to get a fresh hand here. I'm going to attach the turn to the Metagross and go for a maximum drilling for the knockout. He's going to bring up Tatsugiri to go for another supporter, get the black belt training, get an Ends PP up to attach to the Zoroark on the bench there. Go for a trade, get a couple more cards, and he's going to red card me down to 3. Ultra Ball is going to grab him a new Pokemon here, which is going to be the Meowth, and he's going to grab that guy for another Zoroark. He's going to trade for the second one and pass to me. I'm going to get my Metagross ready and go for a couple more Metal Makers. I get 1 there, and I'm going to start setting up my second Mega Excadrill. I'm going to Lilies and then go for another knockout and another 2 off the top. My opponent starts off with that, and he's going to trade a couple of times, draw 4 cards. He's going to scoop it up there because I'm already so ahead. All right, so for game 2, I'm going to be starting off this time because he wanted to go second. I started off with a Beldum and a couple of little guys in the back there. He starts off with 2 Zororas, going for the Meowth for the Lilies, as well as a Binding Mochi and a Dark Energy. He's going to use the Petrun to poison his Aurora and go for the 60 on there. I'm going to Balloon on that guy, get rid of him, put him in the back there to save him, and I'm going to go for a Call for Family for my next turn. I place the Shaman out because he has the Darumaka there, and I don't feel like in my bench absolutely wiped out in 1 turn because of a Tome of Transformation. He's going to bring this guy up, go for a couple trades, and pass to me. I get a couple Matangs out. Well, only 1 because the other guy got knocked out by the monkey there. And then I'm going to go for my Excadrill. Unfortunately, I have no other attacks here except to go for the Undermine and mill the top 2. He's going to trade, go for the Tome, get rid of his Meowth, going for the Darumaka there, and then evolving up into Darmanitan. So he's got that ready just in case he does get the Shaman off my bench. He's going to attach energy and boss up my other Matang. So I have a lot harder time accelerating any energies at this point. I'd go for a couple more Beldums to see what I could do and go for another Undermine. So that's 180 on that guy. He's going to go for another trade, draw a few cards, get his Secret Box, and go for an Ends Castle, move 3 from the Monkey to my Drillbur, and go for another Tome of Transformation. I feel like this card's really good. It gets rid of a lot of liabilities, but he's going to go for the Zekrom there and go for another PP up to get the energy on his Zoroark in the back. Another Night Stretcher gets him a second Dark Energy, and he's going to retreat into the one he just loaded up there on the bench, and he's going to go for the 250 for the knockout. At this point, I don't have too much hope. I can maybe pull something out here. I'm going to have to get a lot of energies here. I would need to get the 5. So I go for the secret box here. I get rid of those 3 guys to get a few new cards here. I got the ice cream cone to heal up. The bangle is like whatever, and I'm just trying to thin out at this point. I go for my first metal maker here, get 3 off of that guy, and then another 2. Thankfully, that gives me the 5 I need to go for a maximum drilling, and as well as I red card him. He's going to bring his monkey up and go for a Poképad here, getting the Yveltal. That card's actually pretty good for the free retreat here. He's going to go for another trade, go for the buddy, get a couple more Zororas out here, or just the one. And then he's going to attach to Darmanitan, monkey over 3 to my shaman here, and pass for turn. At this point, I'm kind of just looking for a boss's orders to knock something else out. I'm going to Metal Maker for 2 there, and then I'm going to Metal Maker for another 2 here. So that guy's already loaded up and ready to go. I'm going to evolve him since my game plan's already pretty set. I'm going to evolve the other guy just so he can't like one-shot both of them with like a Darmanitan or something. I don't know. He's going to go for another monkey attach for turn here and knock and get 30 more damage counters on my shaman. So at this point, he's got one prize card, and all he needs is a monkey Dory to move some damage counters onto the shaman. He gets it off the top of the deck, and we're going to game 3. All right, you guys, we are finally here. Game 3. My opponent's going to start off with the Tatsugiri, get the Lille, and go for a Poképad, attach for that, and a couple Zekroms, and he passes to me. I'm going to start off with an Ultra Ball there to get my Genesect, Poképad to get a Boss Sorters, and I'm going to Genesect to get a couple of evolutions. I'm going to call for family to get a couple guys on my board and set up for my next turn. My opponent goes for the Lille as well as evolving his Aurora and going for a trade. He goes for Tatsugiri, get another Lilles into a Pecharon to be able to switch out his Tatsugiri here, and he's going to go for the knockout for the 70. I'm going to bring up my Drillbur, attach return, go for a Matang, and go for Lilles. I get the evolution. I'm going to go for a Metal Maker, get 0, unfortunately, and I'm going to have to pass here. My opponent's going to start with a trade, go for the Lilles, and hit me with the 250 from the Zekrom. I'm going to attach return, go for another Lilles, couple of basics there on the bench as well as my Shaman, and I'm going to go for another Metal Maker here, hopefully get something, get absolutely nothing, and go for an Undermine. My opponent goes for a trade, get a couple cards, he's going to retreat out his Zoroark, and go for that guy. I forget his name. I'll put it up on the screen. But anyways, he evolves that, goes for 2 ends PP ups to get that guy back into action after just retreating him, and goes for the knockout. At this point, I'm like, okay, well, let's bring this guy up because I got the free retreat. I get a couple of evolutions. I got my Matangs out, I attach return, and I'm praying I get something. I get the petrol for a secret box, and I discard a few cards I know I won't need to get a red card in the boss's orders. I'm going to go for the first Metal Maker and only get 1. So this has been a pretty unfortunate game. I go for another Metal Maker and I get just another one off the top, and I have to go for another Undermine for my attack this turn. My opponent's going to go for his first trade for the turn. After that, he's going to play End's Castle for his turn, and then he's going to go for another Tatsugiri for a Lille's Determination. He's got the Bunny Mochi there on his Zoroark, and then he's going to hit me for another 290. Yep, 290. I'm going to Pokegear here, hopefully get something off the top. I unfortunately fail it. I'm going to search for a couple more metal evolutions here, and we're going to start going for Metal Makers. The first one here, I get absolutely nothing, and then the second one here, I also get absolutely nothing, which is crazy to me. But you know what? That's just part of the game. I attach return here and I go for another 90 for the knockout, and I mill 2 more off the top. He gets the energy, and that's the game.
Alright guys, that's the video. I think I did pretty good. I really like the deck. I want you guys to try it. Maybe we could get a discussion going in the comments. But I'm gonna leave you guys with the pack opening at the end here. If you guys did enjoy, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.
Alright, you guys, so kind of to end the video, I got these prize packs here I got for playing. One of them was from a few days ago, but figured I'd save it for this opening. So we're gonna see what we get. Hopefully, I've already got the Mega Gengar, so I'm hoping for the Charizard, but we'll see what we can get. There's not too much I need, maybe some playable staples. You guys can have that. There you go. Ooh, that's cool. Nice. Ooh, I like that. Oh, and a Crustle. Ugh. Get out of here with that. Nah, it's a fun deck. I don't like it very much, but it's not my kind of gameplay. It's pretty much just like, I'm gonna make the game as not fun as possible. Code card. Ooh. There you go. Another Curlia. Oh my, Haunter. Oh, a Psyduck. That's kind of cool. I like that. Okay, nice. Let's see, next one. What are we gonna get here? Ugh. Ooh, Ethan's Adventure. Code card there for y'all. You can pause it. Ooh, Palava, nice. Ooh, a Moltres. Ooh, Pokepad. That's a good one. Looks nice. I haven't pulled one of those yet. All right, last one. I'm hoping for some big guy, maybe an EX or something. We'll see. Here we go. Ooh, oh, code card. There you go, guys. Ralts, Battle Cage. Ooh, I think I saw some. Ooh, another Crustle. Charmeleon. Huh? Why? What? Have you guys ever seen that? I have never seen that. That's crazy. Well then. All right.